Someone is secretly crying over you right now, and here's the heartbreaking reason why. Open it now. The hidden tears and the shield of light. Archangel Michael says, the room holds its breath and the clock stills as your name moves like a whisper through the dark. A quiet figure presses a hand to their chest and swallows a storm they cannot show. The air is heavy, and the edge of a secret trembles like a curtain before dawn. Somewhere close to your story and far from your gaze, a heart leans against a door it cannot open. Tears arrive like soft visitors, leaving salt on trembling lips and warmth on tired cheeks. The truth aches because it wants to be known and it fears being seen. This person carries memories as if they are delicate glass, bright yet dangerous to touch. Each memory holds the shape of you, and each shape fits nowhere else. The ache grows because the spaces you once lit now feel dim and endless. They cry in secret because pride stands guard at the front door while longing sits on the back steps. They cry because silence seems safer than speaking and the risk of rejection feels like a cliff. They cry because the words needed to bridge the distance were not learned in time. Type Amen 333 to receive your blessing now. They remember the color of small moments, and the small moments feel enormous in the night. The way you smiled without planning it has become a lantern they cannot switch off. The lantern warms and burns, and both feelings live together in the same room. They did not say what needed to be said when the road was open and simple. A single truth could have walked across that space like a child crossing a field, but the moment slipped and the field turned to thorns. Regret arrived and built a chair, and it never left. There is a letter in a pocket never mailed and a draft in a phone never sent. The letter holds the apology, the gratitude, the promise to do better, and the confession that feels too heavy to carry alone. The unsent message becomes a stone, and the stone sinks every time sleep gets close. They cry because timing was cruel and the calendar wore a mask. What was fragile needed patience and what was patient needed courage. Neither arrived together, and so the path divided like a river choosing two mouths. They hold your name the way an artist holds a brush they are afraid to ruin. The canvas waits and the paint dries at the edges, and the scene never begins. Each day adds another frame to the gallery of unfinished courage. The reason is heartbreaking because it is real and pure and complicated. They loved you in a way that refused to sharpen its own edges, and the world loves its edges. They could not choose hardness over tenderness, and tenderness felt unsafe without your hand. They saw your strength and feared you would find their weakness. They feared you would notice the cracks in their history and decide the glass could not be mended. They chose silence to protect what little confidence they still owned, and silence became another wound. They remember a promise never spoken yet fully understood. In the hush of ordinary hours, you carried them without knowing it, and they leaned into that invisible shelter. When it faded, they discovered how loud empty can sound. They rehearse confessions in the shower and in the car when traffic pauses. They imagine a day where words come out steady and simple and right. The day passes, and rehearsal becomes the only place where the scene ever plays. They cry because they believe they hurt you and cannot find the doorway to repair. They believe their absence bruised your trust and their fear broke the fragile bridge you built. They know responsibility is heavy, and they want to lift it but their hands shake. They cry because they see you rising, and they love that rise more than they love their own comfort. They watch you claim light, and the light reminds them of everything they withheld. The contrast breaks them open again and again until night feels like a tide. They have spoken your name to the ceiling and to the cup in their hands and to the air above their pillow. They have whispered it to the mirror as if the mirror could deliver a reply. The echo returns as warmth and ache together, and the echo is relentless and kind. They keep a small token that reminds them of you, and the token glows like a secret ember. It is nothing to anyone else and everything to them. When the ember dims, the memory of your laughter returns and fans it alive. They cry because they know love is not a possession, and yet they cannot stop counting the ways they lost you. They cry because they understand freedom and they want your freedom more than their claim. They cry because acceptance tastes like medicine and they are still learning how to swallow. Archangel Michael says, "The sword of truth cuts only what binds, and the shield of light protects what grows." The courage you need has already walked into the room and is waiting for your breath to steady. The path does not demand punishment. It asks for clean steps. You are not responsible for carrying the weight that is not yours. You are responsible for choosing the light that honors both hearts. You can bless the past without reopening the wound, and you can honor love without returning to old pain. Your heart has learned the art of boundaries that breathe. Those boundaries are not walls. They are living gates with thoughtful hinges. The gate may open for respect, honesty, and action, and it may close for confusion, delay, and harm. Forgiveness can be a path that you walk only to the extent that it keeps your soul aligned. It can be a quiet nod to the truth that both of you were learning under pressure. It can be a candle set on a windowsill to remind the night that you still choose warmth. You may feel waves of tenderness that refuse to vanish, and you are allowed to feel them without losing yourself. You may release the outcome and keep the lesson, and the lesson will love you back. You may bless the one who cries and still guard the doors of your own peace. The one who weeps has begun the slow labor of becoming honest. Tears scrub the mirror that once hid their reflection, and the mirror begins to show something brave. The first honest step is small and sacred, and it will lead to more. If life circles you together again, it will be upon ground that has been cleared of old debris. The clearing happens through truthful words, steady actions, and respect that shows up day after day. Nothing less will hold the weight of what your heart deserves. You are invited to choose softness that does not sacrifice wisdom. You are invited to choose faith in your path rather than fear of being alone. You are invited to choose the momentum of healing over the magnet of old ache. The unseen helpers around you tilt the path ever so gently toward ease. They are not loud, but they are present, and they respond when you breathe and decide. Your breath becomes a signal, and the signal lights the next stepping stone. You may feel signs brush your days like feathers that do not fall. Numbers repeat, songs return, and small kindness finds you without asking. These are gentle confirmations, not demands, and they remind your nervous system to trust. Your body is an instrument and it holds a tuning that belongs to your truth. When you listen without forcing, the tuning returns to center. Center is not a destination, it is a home you can visit with every exhale. Let your mornings carry a quiet promise toward yourself. The promise can be as simple as drinking water with presence or stepping outside to feel the sky. These simple acts rebuild the inner bridge, plank by plank, until your stride remembers ease. When memory stings, place a hand on your heart and name what is true today. Today you are choosing honor. Today you are choosing clarity. When grief rises unexpectedly, give it a gentle schedule and then keep your appointment. Sit with it for a few minutes and let it speak in the language of warmth and ache. When the time ends, thank it for visiting and return to your life with steadiness. When longing reaches for you, bless it as proof that your capacity for love is alive. Let it pass through without building a house in your chest. Allow the space it leaves behind to fill with practices that nourish your future. The one who cries is not your responsibility to repair, but they are worthy of compassion. Compassion does not require access, and kindness does not require reunion. You may keep the door of your heart unlocked for goodness while keeping the gate of your life secured by truth. Your intuition knows how to sort what is aligned from what is almost aligned. It prefers the clean yes over the complicated maybe. It understands that peace is not drama and that love is not confusion. If this person reaches for you with humility and action, you will feel the difference in your body. Words will be clear, steps will be steady, and the past will be named without excuses. The new road will not borrow the shoes of the old road. If they remain quiet, let the silence finish its work. Let your life expand in directions not yet mapped. Let your joy grow new roots and your gifts make new rooms. You are not alone in this chapter, even when the room feels quiet. Your guardians stand where the shadows stretch and they hold the corners of your space. Their presence lifts the ceiling so your spirit can stand at its full height. There is a doorway marked with your true name, and it only opens inward. Each day you speak to yourself with respect, the hinges loosen. Each day you act on your own behalf, the doorway opens a little wider. Stand at that threshold and bless what was honest in the love you knew. Bless the lessons that sharpened your clarity and widened your care. Bless the parts of yourself that stayed tender through the hard wind. You have a holy right to a love that is safe, direct, and present. You have a holy right to a life that hums with purpose even when no one is watching. You have a holy right to joy that does not explain itself to doubt. The one who weeps over you is learning how to carry their share of truth. They are discovering that love without courage becomes a ghost that haunts doorways. They are deciding whether to become solid enough to meet the day. You will not shrink to fit yesterday. You will not dim to soothe someone else's fear. You will not trade your sunrise for a shadow that refuses to move. Your heart can remember without clinging, and it can release without bitterness. It can honor the human story without glorifying the pain. It can choose the altitude where compassion and discernment share the same sky. Your future welcomes you with a table set for hope. There are chairs for new friendships and lamps for new work and windows for new horizons. Your name sits on a place card that only you can claim. When the night returns, let your breath be the lighthouse that calls you home. Inhale strength and exhale the residue of what cannot stay. Inhale clarity and exhale the old scripts that never told your full truth. If the river of emotion surges, let your inner shore hold steady. You are the shore and the river at once, and both can coexist without war. You are the witness and the healer, and both can live in one steady chest. You came to this season with gifts meant to outlast the storm. Your courage is one of those gifts, and it multiplies in motion. Your tenderness is another, and it softens the ground where new life will grow. A day arrives when the ache loosens and you notice music in ordinary noises. The kettle becomes a choir and the street becomes a drum and your footsteps keep time. The world greets you, and you recognize the greeting without effort. You will know you have crossed an unseen threshold when your energy stops reaching backward. Your body will rest at last, and your mind will no longer argue with the past. Your heart will face the direction of light as naturally as flowers do. The one who cried will find their own threshold in their own hour. They will meet their shadow in a place where denial cannot follow. If they rise, they will rise by choosing the work that all love requires. Tonight the unseen hands adjust the sails of your journey. The wind favors the brave and you are already sailing. The horizon does not rush you, and yet it quietly invites your momentum. Your feet are blessed to stand where you stand. Your voice is blessed to speak what is honest and kind. Your path is blessed to carry the glow of every lesson you have paid for with tears and time. Let your sleep be deep and your waking be clear. Let your choices be shaped by dignity and calm. Let your hours be stitched together with patience and purpose. When you move through rooms that once held sorrow, walk with a grounded spine. Let those rooms witness your healed posture and learn a new story from your presence. Keep your head level with hope and your gaze steady with truth. You are worthy of a love that shows up, and you are worthy of a life that does not apologize for shining. You are allowed to keep doors closed that lead to old storms. You are allowed to open windows that invite new breezes. Tonight belongs to your restoration. Tomorrow belongs to your creation. The rest of your days belong to your faithful becoming. And now, as the night yields to a quieter light inside you, receive this final impartation of calm. May your steps be guarded from harm and your heart be guided toward what steadies and sustains. May all that is meant for you arrive without struggle and remain without fear. The silent lantern and the river of return. Archangel Michael says, the night leans close and hushes the room as your name moves like a hush across the floor. A pulse of fate flickers behind the curtains while a single memory breathes in the dark. Somewhere nearby, footsteps pause at the threshold of truth and hold a secret that aches to be known. A heart that once walked beside your heartbeat stands alone in a quiet corner. Tears arrive without ceremony and carve warm paths through the stillness of their face. They swallow the ache, and the ache swallows the room. The reason hides in plain view like a letter tucked beneath a lamp. They loved you with a softness that feared its own shadow, and the shadow became a wall. They waited for courage, and the hour chose silence instead. They cried because they saw their reflection in your steadiness and felt unready to stand beside it. They cried because hope asked them to move and doubt chained their feet to yesterday. They cried because love needed action and they offered only longing. Type Amen 777 to receive your blessing now. They carry the taste of small kindnesses that once drifted through ordinary days. The simple warmth of your voice lingers like safe weather after a storm. The way you placed calm in a room still lights their steps in the dark. They held a boundary they did not understand, and it crushed a future they secretly wanted. Timing unspooled like thread across a rough floor, and the thread caught on every old fear. The bright doorway closed, and the hallway filled with echoes of what might have been. They wrote confessions in the Notes app and erased them before sleep could settle. The sentence that mattered most trembled at the edge of send and retreated to the pocket of regret. The screen went dark, and the silence grew heavier than any apology. They cry because they remember your patience and know it deserved a steady hand. They cry because you gave trust and they answered with distance that made no honest sense. They cry because the space between you expanded until it resembled a sea. Your name sits on their tongue like a prayer they refuse to let the world hear. The whisper carries a warmth that keeps finding its way back to their chest. The warmth meets the ache, and the ache bows its head to the truth it avoided. They keep a stray ticket stub, a photo edge, a note locked in a drawer. Each small token hums with a private glow only they can see. The glow comforts and stings, and both sensations refuse to fade. They are learning that love without courage becomes a ghost that haunts the hall. They are learning that tenderness needs a spine to stand upright. They are learning that silence is not protection when the soul asks for speech. They cry because their silence cost you clarity, and clarity is what your heart deserved. They cry because a clean yes was replaced with a fog that never lifted. They cry because the map of your story was drawn with care, and they stepped off the path. You rose in the meantime and gathered your strength like a mantle you were born to wear. Your days took on a new shine that did not wait for anyone to catch up. The shine reminded them of everything they withheld, and a new wave of tears followed. They traced the edges of what happened with careful honesty now. The truth is not sharp to punish but precise to heal. Each step toward honesty is a step out of the maze. Archangel Michael says, "The sword of light does not wound the heart that tells the truth, it frees it. The shield of presence does not hide from pain, it holds the space for clean repair." The path ahead does not bargain with confusion, it invites straight steps. You are not a harbor for unfinished promises that circle without anchoring. You are not a remedy for someone else's avoidance. You are a keeper of your peace, and your peace is holy work. Your tenderness breathes better behind a boundary that opens for integrity. The gate answers to action and steadiness and respect that arrives on time. The hinge of the gate moves with your calm and refuses to rust in chaos. Forgiveness lives in you like a clear river that knows its direction. It does not flood the banks, and it does not dry to dust. It moves at the speed of your nervous system and honors your pace. You do not owe access where safety is unsure. You do not owe reunion where history remains unclean. You do owe yourself a life that reflects your worth in deed and hour. They weep because they see that worth framed in your daily choices. Your mornings point toward light, and your evenings rest without apology. The rhythm you keep now turns rooms into sanctuaries that welcome only what aligns. Their lessons ripen in the background like fruit that needed a longer season. It is not a punishment, only a process that finally meets honesty. What ripens becomes nourishment when the tree learns to bear its own weight. Your spirit continues to travel with clarity as its companion. Clarity makes conversation gentle and boundaries simple. Clarity makes love stronger because love thrives in rooms without fog. They are discovering the cost of delay, and the cost is measured in mist sunrises. They are discovering that apologies are words braided with correction and proof. They are discovering that hope is a practice and not an accident. You remain poised on your true path with both feet listening to the ground. The ground answers with steadiness that does not depend on another person's weather. You move with that steadiness the way rivers remember the sea. Compassion lives in you without surrendering discernment. You can bless their tears without becoming their umbrella. You can honor their growth without pausing your own. Their nights turn softer when they speak out loud what the mirror already knows. The words land like keys that unlock a long-closed door. On the other side of the door, courage waits with sleeves rolled. You do not carry their keyring, and that truth keeps you free. You carry your own, and your doors open to rooms filled with clean air. The air holds ideas that sparkle and friendships that arrive ready. Your home inside is built from choices you kept even when no one watched. Those choices are bricks that never crumble in rain. Your roof is lined with trust you earned with yourself. They cry because they finally see the gap between feeling and showing. Feeling without showing left the bond hungry, and hunger cannot be ignored forever. Showing would have fed the bond, and now the table waits for a host who knows how to serve. In the landscape of their memory, you stand like a lantern that never lied. The lantern shines because honesty is its fuel. The glow is steady and will not bargain with doubt. Your steps continue, and the road widens to hold the scope of your calling. New work knocks with quiet hands and loyal timing. New people arrive bearing respect like it is the only acceptable currency. They watch from a distance that their choices created. The view is both beautiful and painful because your rise is the proof of what love can do. The proof becomes a teacher, and the teaching lands deeply. On certain evenings, they rehearse a return with simple words and calm breath. They picture steady eyes and responsibility carried with both hands. They picture a path that does not drag the past but names it and leaves it where it lived. You will feel truth if that path touches your door. Truth carries weight without heaviness and warmth without demand. Truth shows its history and then shows its plan. If silence remains, let it finish its work without resentment. Your life flowers in patience that does not waste seasons. Your gifts expand into new rooms that echo with clean laughter. Your body remembers safety like a melody it never forgot. The melody guides your pace and guards your glow. The glow meets the world without asking for permission. You bless the story without rewriting its pages. You bless the lesson without replaying the ache. You bless yourself by keeping the doors aligned with the code of your peace. Their understanding grows root by root in soil watered by their own tears. The roots grip what is real and let go of performance. The tree becomes itself and stops pretending to be a hedge. Your future receives you with a table set for fullness. Work that fits your hands waits where your steps are already headed. Love that speaks clearly knocks when the hour is right. You stand awake to the way grace moves through daily tasks. It arrives in folded laundry and returning focus and steady meals. It anchors in small practices that repeat until strength becomes second nature. Your hours form a necklace made of moments chosen with care. Each bead holds a breath you did not rush and a boundary you did not break. The necklace shines precisely because you no longer reach backward to polish yesterday. They learn to carry accountability like a lantern of their own. With that light, they see the corners where fear hid and the edges where pride grew sharp. The light invites change that does not shout, and change accepts the invitation. You continue to create rooms where joy can sit without being tested. Joy becomes a resident and not a visitor. Joy learns your name and keeps the door open for more. You turn toward new horizons that welcome your pace. The sky does not hurry you, and the road does not argue. The horizon offers space enough for your gifts to stretch. They understand at last that love needs presence more than promises. Presence does not arrive late and does not leave early. Presence keeps time with the heart it honors. You rest more deeply because your inner house is in order. Drawers close without clutter, and lights switch off without anxiety. Morning greets you with tasks that match your hands and a spirit that meets them with ease. A day will come when the ache softens into gratitude for what taught you to stand. The past will take its rightful seat behind you and stop pulling on your sleeve. Your gaze will hold the simplicity of dawn that knows its own light. Your guardians watch your way with a patience that never tires. They stand where the wind bends and keep your flame steady. They signal in small ways that only your spirit notices, and your spirit answers with calm. Archangel Michael says, "The clean road is yours and it does not share lanes with confusion." The tools you need have already found your pockets and they do not fall out. The blessings you welcome move toward you with quiet certainty and right timing. You may feel the echo of their tears and still choose forward. The echo becomes music that no longer pulls you from alignment. The music becomes a background for your courage to keep building. Your calendar fills with commitments that honor your energy. Your friendships form the web that holds your days in safe alignment. Your work speaks for you when your voice rests. They repair what they can within their own walls, and that is the correct order. Repair becomes a language. They learn word by word. Fluency comes when effort grows consistent and humble. You embody the steadfastness you once sought from others. It lives in your posture and your tone and your follow-through. It lives in the way you keep your word to yourself without fanfare. Your heart rests at night without bargaining with scenes that already ended. Sleep joins you like a faithful companion and stays until morning with ease. Dreams wash the edges clean and carry away the remnants of old noise. The season ahead carries smooth stones and kind weather. Your path underfoot remains even because you walk it with attention. Attention keeps you present enough to notice the door that matters. They finally understand that grief was the teacher that arrived when love stalled. The class ended when honesty returned and the lesson stayed. The diploma is quiet self-respect that does not ask to be seen. You name your blessings without fear of losing them. Naming secures their shape and anchors your gratitude in place. Gratitude multiplies the ground where new good can grow. Your voice carries warmth that invites but does not chase. It says what is needed and leaves the rest to silence. It keeps its dignity while remaining soft. They learn to meet the day without hiding behind stories. The day forgives effort and invites consistency. Consistency replaces the drama that used to crowd the stage. You move with an ease that others can feel without explanation. Ease does not mean idle, it means aligned. Aligned choices keep your energy clean and your direction clear. Your future loves your resilience and builds rooms to hold it. Those rooms hold tools that match your hands and doors that fit your stride. Stride becomes rhythm, and rhythm becomes peace. They carry respect for you that does not fade in time. Respect matures into quiet goodwill that does not demand access. Goodwill bows to the life you are crafting and cheers from a distance. You belong to a new chapter that honors the labor you have done. The chapter reads smoothly because you no longer argue with the commas. The sentences flow in lines that your breath can follow without strain. Your inner compass remains pointed toward the true north of your values. That north does not wobble for convenience or charm. It stays where integrity says to stand. They place their own compass on the table and study it with humility. The needle shakes, then steadies. Only from that steadiness can any future be honest. You rise into days that are both simple and rich. Simple means clear tasks and clean company. Rich means meaning that hums beneath each hour. Your peace grows tall and casts a kind shade. Under that shade, new ideas sprout and friendships root. Under that shade, rest becomes natural and work becomes art. They let go of performing long enough to become real. Real is always beautiful when courage walks beside it. Real holds space for repair without begging for applause. You welcome softness that does not invite chaos. You welcome change that does not erase your center. You welcome love that speaks fluently in action, presence, and truth. The past bows to your present and no longer commands your movement. You bow back and keep walking. The exchange is respectful and complete. You stand grounded in the life that belongs to you. Your breath arrives even and leaves even. The rhythm of that breath underwrites everything you create. They learn that tears were not weakness but the first step toward clarity. Clarity needed room, and room appears when truth is spoken aloud. The speaking becomes a door that opens to a different horizon. Your blessings remain not as luck but as the natural outcome of alignment. Alignment brings the right people and the right work and the right pace. Alignment turns effort into grace. Your days gather around a center that no wind can shake. That center is made of devotion to what is real and kind. That devotion is the quiet power that carries you through. They close the drawer where the old tokens slept and keep one small keepsake as a teacher. The teacher does not accuse, it reminds. The reminder nudges action and honors time. You accept that not every story requires a second chapter. Some stories end because you learned what you needed to learn. The learning becomes a lantern for the road ahead. Your lantern shines brighter than the fog of yesterday. It lights only the next step and that is enough. The next step becomes the next calm mile and then the next. They gently put away the version of themselves who avoided what mattered. A better version rises, built from honesty and steady practice. From there, life can become a place of real exchange. You live now with shoulders that no longer brace for storms that never arrive. Relaxed readiness replaces constant defense. Calm courage replaces old alarms. Your name glows on the edge of tomorrow like a banner without noise. The glow belongs to you because you kept choosing what aligned. Choice after choice became the architecture of a beautiful life.